All right, so let's dive into something that I know you're really passionate about, early childhood education in South Africa. You've shared some really fascinating course details with us, and honestly, I'm excited to kind of unpack why this program could be, well, a game changer, as they say.
Yeah, it's definitely one to watch, especially now with, so much focus globally on those really early years, 0 to 5.
Absolutely, and what we're talking about specifically is thriving as a preschool teacher. Essential traits for success in South African classrooms. And the thing that really kind of initially hooked me is that it's, as far as I know, the only one that's directly aligned with South Africa's national curriculum framework, the NCF.
Right.
So it's not just, general theory. It's like hyper-specific to the realities on the ground.
And that's key because the NCF, it's like it provides the roadmap, right, for what children should be learning at that age, how they should be developing.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a program that actually takes those guidelines and translates them into like practical, usable tools for teachers, that's huge.
Huge. And we know you're incredibly passionate about giving those little ones the best possible start in life. But before we kind of jump into the specifics of the course, can you just talk a bit about why this age group, why 0 to 4 is getting so much attention these days? What's the big deal about those early years?
It's foundational, really. Imagine like a house being built. Those first few years, that's the foundation.
Okay.
And a brain develops at such an incredible speed during that time, making connections that impact everything from, obviously language development, but also social skills, even how a child learns to manage their emotions later on.
It's like it sets the stage for everything that comes after.
It really does, yeah. And I mean, in the South African context, that feels even more, more critical.
Absolutely.
Because you have this incredible potential, but you also have these unique challenges that we're all aware of. Inequality, access to quality early childhood education being a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
So this course is really, I think, trying to bridge that gap in a very direct way.
And how so?
Well, instead of just being theory-based, it's really trying to give educators those really concrete, practical strategies that they can actually use that work within, the reality of a South African classroom.
Love it. So if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, okay, is this for me?
Mm-hmm.
Who is this actually aimed at?
Well, it's a pretty broad range, actually. I mean, it's for anyone who's really passionate about early childhood development, about giving these little ones a strong start. So, obviously for preschool teachers who are already in the thick of it, right, this can be like almost like a toolbox refresh.
I love that.
Yeah. Maybe they discover a new strategy that helps them manage their classroom better or even, become a leader in their school, someone other teachers turn to for advice,
Become the mentor, yeah.
Exactly. But it's also, and this is important, it's also for people who are just starting their journey.
Yeah, new to the field.
Brand new.
Yeah.
Because, you're not just learning about child development in a vacuum, you're getting insights and practices that are tailored specifically to South Africa.
Right.
It's about starting your career with this really strong foundation, already so in tune with the context.
And confidence, let's not forget that.
Huge, huge. And you know what? Let's not leave out the parents.
The parents, yeah.
Because they're a vital part of this too. When parents understand the why behind what their child is learning in preschool, it helps them become a more informed advocate for their child's education.
100%, yeah.
Right. And honestly, you also pick up strategies that you can use at home, to support their learning journey. So it strengthens that parent-teacher partnership, which is so crucial.
Absolutely. And, one thing before we go any further that I thought was so interesting when I was reading through the materials is, yes, it's tailored to South Africa, which is fantastic. But it doesn't just focus on, teaching techniques and all of that.
Right.
It actually starts with the educator's inner world.
And that's what really intrigued me too. Because they place a huge emphasis on cultivating a growth mindset in educators.
Okay, talk to me about this growth mindset thing. What's the connection to, early childhood education?
Well, think about it this way. It all comes down to how a teacher views challenges and setbacks. So imagine a teacher with a fixed mindset. They believe intelligence is, set in stone.
Okay.
You either have it or you don't.
Right.
They might shy away from challenges. They might see a mistake and think, oh, I'm a failure. Now contrast that with a teacher who embodies a growth mindset. They see a challenge and they think, ooh, this is an opportunity for me to learn and grow.
Love it.
A mistake. That's just a stepping stone to deeper understanding.
Totally.
And that energy, that belief in the power of growth, it's contagious. Children pick up on it,
Oh, for sure.
and it influences how they approach their own learning.
100%. So it's about setting the tone for that whole classroom environment.
Exactly.
But this isn't just some, vague feel-good concept. How does this course help teachers develop this growth mindset?
Well, they actually dedicate entire chapters, several chapters, to building those inner qualities that are essential for success in the classroom. Things like, patience, adaptability, because let's face it,
Oh, huge.
you need that with little ones, emotional intelligence, cultural sensitivity, right? So it's not just about what you teach, it's about how you teach and really who you are as an educator.
And this is what gets really interesting for me, because reading through the material, it's not just about telling teachers, be more patient, be more adaptable.
Yeah.
They actually give very specific, concrete strategies.
Exactly, because they understand that real life, especially with preschoolers, it rarely goes according to plan, right?
Okay.
So, take a look at the example. They use a power outage in the middle of the day.
Which, let's be honest, in South Africa happens.
Right. Happens more often than we'd like.
All the time.
Most people see a power outage as a disruption, but they encourage teachers to think, okay, this is an opportunity. How can I be creative?
Love that.
And they even give you this practical example, right? You grab a flashlight, make some animal shapes on the wall, and suddenly what could have been this really chaotic, stressful situation becomes this magical storytelling time with shadow puppets.
Which is brilliant on so many levels, because not only are you keeping those kids entertained, but you're actually teaching them about adaptability,
Yes.
resilience,
Yes.
and the fact that learning can happen anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime.
Anytime, yeah. So it's not just, again, it's not abstract. It's woven into the actual fabric of the course itself.
And that's what makes this program so different, right? It's really about giving these educators the tools to not just survive, but to truly thrive in what is a very unpredictable environment, the world of a South African preschool.
Speaking of thriving, one of the other things I was really drawn to is this whole chapter on communication skills.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so much more than just talking to kids, isn't it? It's about making those connections.
Absolutely. And recognizing that communication is not a one-size-fits-all approach, especially in a nation as diverse as South Africa. So this program really emphasizes cultural sensitivity, understanding that families may have very different communication styles, different ways of expressing themselves.
And creating that space where everybody feels seen, heard, respected.
Yes.
Which builds the trust not just with the kids, but with the families, with colleagues.
100%. It's about recognizing, celebrating that richness that South Africa has in its diversity, that tapestry, and making sure every single child feels like they belong in that classroom. It's amazing when a program actually goes beyond just the theory, and really equips educators to actually put these principles into practice.
Yeah, and reading through the materials, the thing that really jumped out at me was the emphasis on patience and adaptability.
Oh, fundamental, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're working with, 3- and 4-year-olds.
All right.
I mean, every day is its own adventure.
It's true. It's the beauty of it.
But it also requires, I think, a very specific skill set to kind of navigate all those unexpected twists and turns, right? Because you can't just plan a lesson plan and assume it's all going to go off without a hitch.
Right.
There's going to be a tantrum here, a spilled juice box there, maybe even a gecko loose in the classroom. Who knows?
Only in South Africa, right.
Right. But that's the thing. These are the things that no textbook can fully prepare you for.
100%.
And I think that's what I really appreciate about this program is that it acknowledges that. It acknowledges those realities. It understands that a little bit of chaos is par for the course when you're dealing with young children. But instead of presenting it as something to fear or avoid, they really try to flip the script.
Yeah, I love that.
And empower educators to find the opportunity in those moments.
Yeah, and that goes back to the whole growth mindset thing, right? It's not about pretending those challenges don't exist. It's just having the strategies to approach them with calmness.
Exactly. And, one really simple, but I think powerful example of this is their approach to creating predictable routines.
Okay.
It sounds so basic,
Yeah.
but think about it. Routines provide a sense of security, stability for these little ones, especially in an environment that can often feel unpredictable, right?
Right.
So when they know what to expect, it can actually reduce anxiety, it can make transitions smoother, and honestly, it also helps them become more independent.
Oh, 100%.
Because if they know, okay, after snack time, we always sing a song, and then it's playtime, they're more likely to just go with the flow.
Totally, yeah.
And that frees up the teacher to then focus on individual needs.
Or those unexpected situations that inevitably arise.
Exactly, exactly. So it's like you're creating that foundation, that predictability, which then allows for those spontaneous moments of learning and discovery to flourish.
And speaking of spontaneous moments, it made me think about, we were talking about the power outage. That's where I feel like this program really shines.
Yes.
It's almost like they're training educators to be masters of improvisation.
Right.
Which I have to say, speaking from experience, I used to be a teaching assistant in a preschool. Things rarely went according to plan.
Right.
But those were always the moments where the most creative learning happened, both for me and for the kids,
It's so true, yeah. Sometimes those unplanned moments actually end up being some of the most memorable lessons.
100%.
And when you can equip these educators with the confidence to embrace those moments,
Yeah.
the sky's the limit, really.
Totally. But, it's not just about reacting to the unexpected.
Right.
This course also emphasizes the proactive strategies for creating that, positive and engaging learning environment from the get-go.
Absolutely.
And a big part of that, we touched on this a little bit earlier, is communication.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it goes so much deeper than just the words that we use.
It does, yeah. It's about really fostering these genuine connections, understanding, like we were saying, that there are so many different communication styles out there, especially in a country like South Africa, and really creating a space where everyone feels safe to, express themselves authentically.
100%.
And this is where that emphasis on cultural sensitivity is so, so important.
Oh, crucial, yeah. And, it actually makes me think about this. I think it was a study I read recently.
Okay.
And it found that children from, culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds, they're more likely to thrive in classrooms where their home language and culture are valued
Of course.
and actively incorporated into the curriculum.
Makes sense, right? Because it's about, like we were saying, that sense of belonging, that feeling of being seen, of being heard for who you are. And that's essential not just for the children themselves, but also for their families.
Right.
And that's something else I really appreciated about this course is they really hammer home the importance of building strong partnerships between educators and parents.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, everybody's on the same team,
Exactly. We all want what's best for these kids.
working towards that same goal.
Exactly. And they actually give, practical tips for how to do that effective communication, maybe organizing family events at the school,
Love that.
even involving parents in the learning process itself.
Yeah, because it's one thing to talk about parent involvement, but they actually give you the tools
Exactly.
to make it happen.
Because honestly, nobody knows a child better than their own parents, right?
Right.
Their insights are invaluable.
100%.
So it's really about recognizing that a child's education, it's a collaborative effort, It's not just on the teacher, it's not just on the parents.
It takes a village.
It really does. And when educators, parents, families, when they all work together, everybody benefits, especially the children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Teaching, especially teaching young children,
It's demanding.
it's so demanding. It requires so much, not just, physical energy, but emotional energy.
So much emotional
Isn't
energy.
it?
You're on all day long.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
100%.
And that's why I was so impressed to see that they dedicated like a whole section of this to emotional intelligence for educators.
Yes,
Because it's not just about, managing your classroom. It's about managing yourself.
exactly. Because if you're feeling burned out,
Yeah,
if you're feeling emotionally drained, that's going to impact your teaching.
100%.
And they get that.
Yeah,
So they actually give you the tools,
it's FDR.
self-care, stress
Yeah.
management,
Yes.
how to cultivate a positive outlook. Even when things are tough, because it's inevitable, you're going to have tough days.
Totally. And it's not just about you, right? Because when you are emotionally well,
Mm-hmm.
it ripples outwards.
100%. You create a calmer, more nurturing learning environment
Right.
for everyone. And what I also found really interesting is they even talk about how cultural sensitivity plays into emotional intelligence.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Because different cultures
Yeah.
might have very different ways of expressing and processing emotions.
Totally.
So recognizing and respecting those differences,
Mm-hmm.
that's also key, to creating a truly inclusive and supportive environment.
It's fascinating how all of these elements, the growth mindset, the communication, the cultural sensitivity, the emotional intelligence, they all kind of weave together to create this tapestry of what it means to be, an effective and thriving educator.
Especially in the South African context.
Yeah, in the South African context, yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings us to one final piece of this tapestry that I found really, really compelling. And that's this idea of continuous professional development.
Yes. It's a journey.
It's a journey, not a destination, right?
Exactly.
Like learning never stops.
And honestly, thank goodness for that. Right?
Yeah.
Especially in a field like early childhood education. I mean, new research is emerging all the time, new methodologies, we're constantly learning more about how young children learn best.
Absolutely.
So this program, I love that they recognize that educators need to be lifelong learners too.
Yes. I love that they don't just kind of like give you this information and then send you on your way.
Right. Good luck. See you later.
Exactly. Like good luck out there. They actually provide ongoing support and resources for professional development.
Because it's about equipping you, not just for today's challenges, right?
Yes.
But for the opportunities that are coming down the pipeline,
100%.
It's about fostering a love of learning, not just in the kids, but also in the educators themselves.
Oh, love that.
Because ultimately, when a teacher is passionate about their own growth, about learning new things, that enthusiasm, that thirst for knowledge, it becomes contagious.
100%. It sets such a good example, too,
Yeah.
for those young minds.
And isn't that what it's all about, really? Inspiring a lifelong love of learning,
That's it.
starting from those very first steps.
One little learner at a time. But you know what? Before we get ahead of ourselves,
Okay.
there's one more really crucial aspect of this program that I really want to dig into, and that's the impact it's having on the lives of not just the educators, but the children, across South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's unpack that in our final part of this deep dive.
We can sit here and talk about the ins and outs of the program itself,
Right.
but the real magic is seeing it in action.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
Seeing how it translates into real-world impact.
It's one thing to talk about, growth mindset and communication strategies on paper.
Right.
But what we really want to know is, how do those concepts actually come to life
Exactly.
in those classrooms?
And that's where I think this program really stands out, because it's not just about training individual educators.
Right.
It's about almost like empowering a movement
Love that.
of educators who are truly, truly dedicated to transforming early childhood education in South Africa.
So I think you're creating this ripple effect, right?
Yes.
It starts with the individual, but it just kind of expands outwards.
It does, yeah. It impacts the children, obviously, the families, and then ultimately the wider community.
And it's not just about academics either, right?
No, not at all.
Which, as we know, is so important. But it's about those essential life skills, resilience, empathy, that love of learning. Those are the things that are going to serve these kids well, no matter what they do.
100%. No matter what path they choose, those skills are, transferable to every aspect of life.
Totally. It made me think about this quote by Nelson Mandela.
Okay.
He said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world."
Powerful.
And I really feel like this program really embodies that spirit.
They understand that by investing in these early years, you're investing in the future.
The future of South Africa.
Of South Africa, exactly. And when you equip those educators with the tools, with the support they need to thrive, you're setting everyone up for success.
And I think it's also really important to acknowledge, the impact on the educators themselves.
Oh, huge.
Because it's not just about giving them tools and strategies.
Right.
It's also about, I think, reminding them why they chose this profession.
Yes. Reigniting that passion.
Because it's not an easy path. Right.
It is not for the faint of heart, let me tell you.
No, it's incredibly demanding and challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Oh, beyond rewarding.
And I think having, a program like this that provides that ongoing support, that professional development, that sense of community.
It makes all the difference, really.
It can make or break, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Whether somebody stays in this field.
Yeah, and when you think about it, teachers, they need that space to connect. Oh, absolutely.
To share their experiences, their challenges, their successes.
To feel seen and heard as well, right?
Yes, because everybody needs that.
Totally.
And when you have those systems of support in place, that's when the real magic happens. Because when teachers feel supported, when they feel valued, they're able to bring their best selves to the classroom.
And that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Creating those nurturing and engaging and just empowering learning environments for those kids.
Where every child feels seen, heard, valued, celebrated for exactly who they are.
100%. So you know what? To all of those amazing early childhood educators out there listening,
Yes.
the ones who dedicate their lives to shaping young minds,
You guys are rock stars.
you are rock stars. We applaud you. We thank you. Your work is so incredibly important and valuable.
You are the unsung heroes, really.
You are the unsung heroes that lay the foundation for, honestly, a better future.
You really are, because those early years, they have ripple effects
They do.
that impact, generations to come. And so to wrap things up, we really hope that this deep dive has given you a glimpse into just how powerful early childhood education can be and the incredible work that's being done, especially in South Africa,
Yes.
to really give every child that best possible start in life.
Because they deserve it.
They do, 100%, 100%. And to our listeners, if this conversation has sparked your curiosity, even just a little bit, we encourage you to keep exploring, because there's so much more to discover.
Yes. Check out the course website,
Absolutely. We'll link to that in the show notes.
and you might just be surprised by what you find.
Until next time, keep those curious minds engaged and keep believing in the power of education to change the world.
One little learner at a time.